Disclaimer. This episode deals with potentially triggering subjects, as I will talk about abuse and a very sensitive topic, something that happened to me personally. Now, this video is not about politics. As most of you know, I have chosen to step away from the toxic world of politics, but this situation does deal with political figures. Now, this is something that happened to me and is a part of the reason why I chose to step away. Viewer discretion is advised. If these subjects are something you would not want yourself or listeners around you to hear, please feel free to skip this episode and listen to the next one of The Joyful Life. I appreciate you, Joy Tribe, and now on with the show.
Turn the page, a new story, a new face.
Hi, Joy Tribe. Welcome back to the show, The Joyful Life. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to deep dive into a scandal that broke this week that has my name involved in it. Yeah, so this is very hard for me to talk about. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is something that happened years ago that now is being brought back up in the news. It's trending. I am forced to talk about it again. It's something that victimized me at the time and something that I honestly wanted to forget about because it's painful. And at risk of losing everything, at risk of looking like the bad guy again, at risk of turning the people off that I want to talk to, at risk of losing my fan base, and of seeming like I'm inserting myself in a scandal when unfortunately I've been inserted into it, I'm going to talk about it. I have chosen to talk about this because I do feel like God has put it on my heart to be honest and real and truthful to myself, because that's the person I owe the most gratitude to, I'm indebted to, and I've been lying to myself for a while. So without further ado, Joy Tribe, I'm going to take you in on this journey. Again, this is very difficult for me. I appreciate you bearing with me if I don't come across as my usual confident, bubbly self, but we're going to deep dive into this. So, first of all, there is a scandal that has erupted between Corey Lewandowski. He is Trump's former campaign manager, and from 2016, and Governor Kristi Noem. She is the governor of North Dakota. And so I'm going to read from the Daily Mail. Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair published an article from the Daily Mail. So the Daily Mail has published an explosive report that South Dakota, not North Dakota, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski, a former Donald Trump aide, have been having a secret affair for years, at least since 2019. Noem's spokesperson told the tabloid, "This is so predictable that you would attack Governor Noem less than a week after she endorsed Donald J. Trump as the 47th president of the United States. Neither have denied the Daily Mail's reporting, and Vanity Fair has reached out to both of them for further comment." So what does this have to do with me? Well, the Daily Mail, if we go back to the Daily Mail article, which first released this, is saying exclusive married South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem and Trump advisor Corey Lewandowski have been having a years-long clandestine affair. I don't care about the affair. If it's true, I hope it's not, because we have married individuals, people getting hurt, we have children involved. But what has happened is Corey Lewandowski, if you remember who that is, he is somebody who, again, this is a bit harder for me to talk about. So he supported Trump during the campaign, and he was the actual campaign manager in 2016. And he has been in the scene for a while, working on politics. He wrote a book called "Let Trump Be Trump." He's been a big supporter of the Trump campaign. So here's Daily Mail, from the Daily Mail article. I'll read from this. So Lewandowski, who married 9/11 widow Allison Hardy in 2005 and has 4 children, did not respond to requests for comment. He allegedly had an affair with campaign press secretary Hope Hicks. And in the run-up to the 2016 election, he was arrested for manhandling Breitbart News reporter Michelle Fields at a press conference in Florida. So there was charges brought against him. Charges were later dropped. After Trump's election, Lewandowski gained a reputation for being a loose cannon. Corey was always running his mouth off, and after a few drinks, you could see the pins starting to fall out of the grenade, a defense contractor who knew him said. So here's where it gets a little bit, well, here we go. Following a party at the Trump International Hotel in Washington, singer Joyvilla filed a police report against Lewandowski for sexual assault, saying he smacked my ass really hard and that it was almost violent in nature. By 2019, he was a key advisor to Noam, and the pair went on a deep-sea fishing trip hosted by the late conservative billionaire and GOP mega donor Foster Friess. Okay, so this is where, to be honest, I'm scared. My blood turns cold right now. In 2017, when that happened, I was at the height of my career, having just come out at the Grammys in my Trump dress, my Make America Great Again dress. And my music had hit #1 on Billboard. I had all these millions of fans, thousands, tens of thousands of followers on Twitter, on Facebook now, on Instagram. I mean, I just catapulted from being an independent artist, a singer who was still struggling to get eyeballs on my music, but was doing things and was touring. But it was still the struggle was real, as independent artists know. I was self-touring as an independent artist, reaching people. Selling my album, but it would have to be me in front of a person to do that, and doing the shows, and I was modeling, and I did some small movie roles. But then, boom, after the Grammys, I just shot up like like lightning. I mean, it was incredible. A lot of you guys, this is how I know you guys from. And it was awesome. It was the most amazing thing that's happened to me, but it was also a whirlwind. And it sent me into a space where I felt very untouchable. I felt really good. I felt beautiful. I felt accepted for who I am, coming out as a conservative, as an artist, as a Black Latina woman. I felt really honored wearing Andre Soriano's dress. He designed it. He's a gay Filipino immigrant, one of my best friends. And, we had done the Grammys since 2015. So that was now 2 years into the Grammys. It was our third Grammys, 15, 16, and now 17. And we didn't expect for the huge array of press and attention, and we spoke at the MAGA rallies. We spoke at many things. I traveled around the world speaking. My music shot out. I wrote a music video, a song, Make America Great Again, that hit #4 on Amazon charts. I was on Fox News every day almost. It was just amazing, incredible. And I was introduced to many of you as a speaker and as an artist, and I took that mantle boldly. God really brought it upon my shoulders, and I used my voice for my values. It did not come without its pain, to be honest, because I did have to maintain a bit of this, not facade, but to be honest, I had to be a little more cool and act like I was doing okay when I wasn't. It was that celebrity thing. Lady Gaga called it the fame monster, and it really is a monster that fame can turn into. But what ended up happening is I stayed close to God. I stayed close to my family. I stayed close to my friends. I stayed close to my heart of creating. And then I was going to run for Congress. And I announced to the world, and I raised the first $5,000 thanks to you guys, because it was in small donations. I was going to run for Congress right here in Florida, and where I was living at the time, at a place. And I got caught up in politics, to be honest, Joy Tribe. I just had people advising me at the time, some big time people, some recognizable names in the conservative movement. I was in the campaign I was on the campaign advisory board for Trump, going to the White House, speaking at events, meeting with the president, being on White House calls, with the vice president, the president's team, and the cabinet. I mean, I loved all of that. I have never been a politician, and I never really wanted to be, but I wanted to be a voice for the people. I wanted to be not bought and paid for, not owned, much like Trump himself, which is why I admire him a lot and voted for him. And I feel it has to be said that I will vote for him again. I do want to say that. But I feel that this I got caught up in the sharks because once I announced my potential congressional run on Fox News with an exclusive interview, which was amazing, I felt like Princess America. I did feel like Miss America, Queen of the World. And things started to take a downhill turn, though. Lots of things started to surface. There was a video where my manager at the time, my former manager, who was incredibly toxic and incredibly did not look out for me. I mean, he sold a video of me for $10,000. This video was me at a party, drinking, playing around, pretending to, kind of do this, and that video ended up surfacing, and it surfaced after I got invited. Let me back up. So I got invited to the Trump campaign event at the Trump Hotel in DC. And I mean, Laura Trump was there. Who else was there? Some of Trump's former attorneys were there. These people that I loved and worked with, and I still love Laura, and I still love many of these people. Some of the people that left the campaign, whatever. I don't talk to them, but Corey Lewandowski, I was introduced to him by someone who was on the media a lot, a newscaster or speaker. He's not a caster, but he was a speaker. And he said, Joy, I want to introduce you to my friend Corey. And I had a drink in my hand. I had a few sips of a drink, and Corey was there, and he was outrageously drunk. He was so boorish and so the top. And he said, Hey, Joyvilla. And he said, let's pose for a picture. And he had two security guards with him. And he was so he was happy, but it was chaotic vibes, right? He was very chaotic. And he pulled me close to him. We posed for a picture. I like gregarious people. I like outgoing people. I'm not really like that. I mean, I am if you know me, but I'm also can be a bit, I could actually be a little bit shy at parties. I mean, I guess no one would think I'm shy, but I like to look at the person and go hi and feel it out, a little more of a vibe. There was a lot of heavyweights there, and I felt really good, but it was very relaxing, but it was also very exciting, of course. And he was very drunk. He was very excited. And after the photo, he smacked my butt. And I told him, hey, watch it. Be a gentleman, watch it. What'd I say exactly? God, I haven't looked at this for a long time. It's been years, Joy Tribe. It's very painful for me to look at. To be treated like that is incredibly dehumanizing. And I stayed silent for years because I was afraid of what you guys would think about me. I was afraid of what would happen because it already did happen to me. I was afraid of what people would say. I was afraid. I lived in fear afterwards. So he smacked my butt, and I'm wearing a suit. I'm not dressed in not that it matters. It doesn't matter what I was wearing. Nobody has a right to put their hands on you. Nobody. But here I am dressed in a suit looking, not looking for male attention in that way at all. I mean, male attention is not the same thing as acting this way, but he used his authority and his power. He smacked my behind extremely hard, violent in nature, actually. And I told him, hey, careful now, I could report you. And it was that teacher voice because I was so shocked inside. I thought there's no way this guy meant to do this. This must be a mistake. I'm Joy Villa. I'm Miss America. I'm a woman here by myself because you couldn't take people with you. So I couldn't take my then husband. And so I was there, but it was a safe place. It was a safe place. And so he did that, and I told him to knock it off. And I did it in this way that I was trying to still look cool. And I was very aware I didn't want to look like somebody who was freaking out. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was going to cry like this, Joy Tribe. I've just been holding this in for so long, and I'm so sorry. I didn't want to talk about this. I did not want to have to talk about it, but my name is being used on all of the press. It's going everywhere, and I want to be able to talk about it and get control of the narrative and say what happened for reals so that people don't stay in dark, that they don't think I'm trying to ignore it, or that I don't care about what's going on when my name is used. And I don't want my name to be used anymore. I don't want my name to be used as something that is anything than what it is. So the truth is, when he did that, I reacted in the way I could. And then I told him to knock it off, and he did it again. He looked me straight in the eyes and he smacked my butt again, even harder. And he said, "Go ahead. I work in the private sector." He didn't care, okay? He didn't care how he came off. He didn't care that he was abusing his authority, his right as a man, as somebody who used to work in the Trump campaign. By the way, he was fired in 2016 after he did that to Michelle at Breitbart. He grabbed her arm and threw her on the ground. And he didn't care about any of that. This was a man who was laughing. He laughed in my face after that, and he made it like it was a joke. And I was left completely numb. He had 2 big bodyguards. He laughed at me, and then he left. And the guy who was with me at the time, who was on the news a lot, grabbed my arm and ushered me away. And I said to him, "Did that really happen?" And he was just like, he couldn't talk about it. I couldn't talk about it. I spent the rest of that evening laughing and joking with other people, having a drink as if nothing happened. Because anybody who's been a victim of sexual assault will tell you, you get numb very quickly and you try to laugh it off because it is so unreal. It is unreal. People who say, "Why didn't you scream? Why didn't you attack him back? Why didn't you they've never had it happen to them. It's like a movie. When you watch a movie and you say, "Oh, don't go in there." It's easy to say, "Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?" Hindsight is 2020, baby. I wish I would have made a big deal about it. I wish I would have said, "Hey," screamed, "Stop it. You cannot touch me. Get your hands off of me." I wish I would have pushed him back. I would have done that for somebody else had I seen it happen to them. But when you're in the moment, it's so stunning. It's so unreal. And I was so trapped in my image and how I did not want to seem like the weakest link, a part of the Trump campaign. I didn't want to seem like I didn't know what I was doing there. I did feel like a bit of a fish out of water. I was happy to be there. I'm an artist. I'm a singer. I use my voice. I stand up for my values. And in that moment, I couldn't. And I felt such incredible shame, Joy Tribe. Such shame that I didn't come to you guys sooner. I talked about it after. I told only 3 people, an advisor I was working with who is a big part of the Trump campaign and had worked personally with Trump at the time. I told my manager, I ended up not looking out for my best interests and had hijacked me. I'll tell you later at the time. And I told my husband, who was my husband at the time, we're no longer married. Those are the only 3 people. My husband was livid, of course. And everyone told me, "Just file this away. Don't talk about it." And so I didn't. And it was a month later when I was running for Congress, potentially running for Congress, 3 weeks later, that I talked about it. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting a call. And it came off like I went to Good Morning America. Because it started trending. I talked about it to Politico, because someone was an eyewitness and they had called me. It was about 3 weeks later. And they had called me and said, "We have an eyewitness that saw what happened. Would you like to add your name to the story?" And I said, yes, because I thought, well, good. Somebody else can tell the story and I will just validate the truth from what happened to me. And even now when I talk to you guys, this is so hard for me. And I can talk about anything. I can talk to anyone. This is uncharacteristic for me because I am never afraid to talk about things that I care about. But this scared the living crap out of me. It scares me now because I felt so helpless. I felt so victimized. I felt like he didn't do worse things to me, but it felt the same shame. I felt like it was my fault somehow and like I shouldn't talk about it. But when someone else talked about it, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I was very much under the gun of my team at the time. And I said, because otherwise I should have just called it out right away. I went through so much in my head, and I can get in my head, Joy Tribe. So I added my name to the political article. It went viral. It was December. It was around Christmas time. It was November, late November, around Thanksgiving when it had happened. The incident happened. And then when it started going out, my family freaked out because they didn't know. And I filed a police report because now it was out and I was asked questions. And because it was I had to do a federal case because it was in DC. And then I was just like everywhere. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to own this and I'm not going to be victimized and I'm going to stand up. It was during the height of the Me Too movement. And I thought there's no way anybody would be this crazy to do what he did. It was so shocking. It was like, you can't really be doing this in a public place. It was a private event, but it was in public with no former, like I never met him before. I didn't know him. He was just there and I was first introduced to him. And he was so disgusting. He was so drunk. He was so violent with the way he smacked me. And what he said to me was like a threat. Go ahead. I work in the private sector. Like, go ahead. I'm no longer in politics. So you can't do anything to me. And then a video surfaced of me playing around at a party where there was this guy and I was pretending to smack. And I was like, woo hoo hoo. He's like right here. And it was just all fun and games, stupid stuff, right? In Vegas at a conservative event. I was drinking, whatever. But I didn't actually it was just acting stupid. That video clip was sold by my manager at the time for $10,000. And that went to the press. And Good Morning America, who said I would be able to tell my side. And again, remember, I'm doing media all around the country talking about potentially my congressional run. And which Trump had already tweeted me out and basically endorsed me. And I had been working overtime. I had a special needs stepdaughter, who I still keep in contact with, by the way, Robin. And it was just so grueling. It was so grueling, Joy Tribe. I felt like I've got to keep doing this. And then people were telling me I shouldn't do this. And then when that came out, it went viral and people started attacking me. I'm talking fans of mine, not my real fans, not you guys, but Trump supporters attacked me. I had things because I read my comments. Not everybody reads the comments, but I think it's important to stay in touch with my fan base. I don't like to be like in a glass bubble or whatever. And what ended up happening is there was a question that was like, or a comment that was like, it would say something like, oh, I love you so much. I'm forever your fan. And then the next one, this was from before when I came out, support of Trump. And then it would be like, how dare you? You're a plant. Conservatives attacked me. Some very prolific, I'm not going to name names, but some very up there conservatives started attacking me, using me as bait, blacklisting me, ignoring me. I know, blacklisted from the conservative area, it sounds so stupid. It sounds ridiculous because we don't do that to ourselves, to our people. We do that to, like others do that to us. But that is what happened to me. I'm going to be honest with you. And I didn't want to talk about it. I was ashamed. But I kept talking about it has nothing to do with Trump, and it doesn't, because he was fired from the campaign in 2017 or 2016. We're after the campaign, so it must have been 2017, for grabbing this woman's arm. And then he did this to me. And then he also did it to another woman recently. And Megyn Kelly reached out when I was in the UK wanting me to talk about it. And I said, no comment. I didn't want to talk about it. I said, I don't want to bring this back up because it destroyed me. It almost nearly destroyed me. I had so many attacks, so-called fans now attacking me. There was joyisafraud.com, people attacking me, attacking my church, attacking my other friends, attacking my family members, attacking my freaking every selfie picked. It wasn't about my body, right? I could handle that. It wasn't about my politics. I could handle that. This was about me as a person, saying I had no integrity, saying that it was my fault and what was I wearing and why was I there? And it was so evil that I realized at that moment why people don't speak out of sexual assault. I realized why people don't speak out when they're victimized. I'm not a victim. I refuse to be a victim. But something disgusting happened to me. And in that moment, it victimized me. And I felt that shame. I felt that incredible lack of wanting to talk to others. I didn't even tell my family until after the news article came out. And then the investigation went on, and I finally dropped it. I said, this is not worth it. That's why I pulled out of the race. Someone was paid. The guy who was in the video, I talked to him the night before I went on to the little video of me messing around, which by the way went viral. And people said, oh, see, she's a fake because she did it to somebody. And it's okay when men do it, or it's not okay when men do it, but it's okay when women do it. She's a fake. She's a phony. I got attacked by mainstream people. Well, it was mainstream political people that were in the conservative movement, like our right-wing, brightest and boldest speakers, right? And because of that, it chipped away at my self-confidence because these are people who had me on their show, had me on their blogs, had me on their YouTube videos, had me on the news with them. And they were all lovey-dovey. They were my friends until they weren't, until the scandal hit. And then all of a sudden they attacked me. And then they distanced, the best of them distanced themselves from me. The worst of them attacked me. And I was called all kinds of names. And I was told I'm a fake and I'm trying to attack Trump. And I said, this has nothing to do with the president. Nothing. And I wouldn't let any of the left-wing media tell me that it did. Or when they try to ask me for comments, I always said this has nothing to do with Trump because of course they try to use it as fodder. And I didn't want that. False allegations are the worst allegations, are the worst things, because I think that if you lie about something like this, you should get the penalty of what the other person would have gotten if they had done it. And I'm a big proponent of speaking out and being strong and being a strong woman, but also being a strong man. True masculinity protects and provides. True femininity. We need our men to stand up and be strong. I was raised by a strong father. So needless to say, it really almost ruined my life. I went home every night. I was crying. At night, I was crying to sleep. I'd read the comments. I'd see the hate. I'd see the attacks. And I thought, what? This was only 10 months after becoming famous in the spotlight. And I already had my first scandal. And it's political. And I don't even care about politics. And I was just running for Congress to help people. I just wanted to be a voice for the people. And I thought, I gotta leave this. I pulled out of the campaign, which I believe is a mistake, because I would have got elected. I let it silence me. I became much more quiet. I retreated into my shell. I became extremely depressed because of it. I felt like a failure. I felt like I'd let you down, Joy Tribe, that I'd let myself down, that I'd let God down, that I'd let my family down. All because of something that somebody else did to me. Now I want to reframe this. Because it's not okay that I took that on as it was my fault, because it was not. It was not my fault. I didn't do a damn thing wrong. I acted in the best way I could have. Hindsight is 2020. Would I have said something louder now? Of course I would have. Of course I would have hoped that any woman in that situation would stand up to her perpetrator, or man, because it happens to men too. and that you don't have to just because you've been victimized. And I have been before at a very young age. So when it happens to you once and something very similar happens to you again, it was much worse when I was a child, much worse. And when it happens to you again and you see that, it can make you freeze to death. I froze. I went numb. I wouldn't do it now. But what's done is done. But what I don't want to see is my name being dragged into this man being the awful human being that he is. I mean, an absolute awful person. Having gone on multiple affairs, having abused a woman, charges stuck and then they were dropped. I mean, why? Right? Why would you, if something happened to you, why would you drop that? Well, because pressure's put on. And for those of you who are like, yeah, women lie too, we don't, yes, this is not a man versus woman thing. This is not a left versus right thing. This is not political. This is what's right. This is right versus wrong. Nobody has the right to put their hands on you. He did not have the right to put his hands on me. And when I did interviews and I got attacked for speaking up, I saw how twisted this world is. Now, examined, okay, but being attacked, being labeled a liar, being told that I was nothing, and having my career almost entirely destroyed was not okay. I rose from the ashes. I'm still here. I rose from the ashes. I shared my pro-life story. I pivoted and became more and more out there. Thank God. But I pulled out of my campaign. The man whose the video leaked, he was paid $50,000, allegedly. This was told to me by someone on my team. He was bought off $50,000 to lie, to change his story. Because at first he said, I know you were joking around. You didn't even touch me. It was a joke. I talked to him the day before I went on to Good Morning America. And he said, yeah, that was obviously a joke. And then he changed his story and the next morning, and then Good Morning America just read that to me. They didn't even want to talk about me and what happened and what really happened. People just silenced me. They silenced another conservative Black woman. It's not even about race. It's not even about politics, like I said, because I don't see myself as a victim, but I see that I use that to silence myself. At the end of the day, it's nobody really silenced me. I silenced myself. I got to take responsibility for that. I stayed quiet. I didn't speak up. I felt ashamed. And instead of listening to my gut feeling and going with what I know God created me to be, the unifier, to unify the message, to speak out, to put people together, to say, listen, this is not okay. If you're from the left or from the right, we cannot say this is okay. This is really about how could a man think it was okay for him to put his hands on me? And then to do it again after I told him stop. That's not okay. And if it was a left wing or right wing, it's not about politics. It's not about party politics. And whatever's happening between him and Kristi Noem, I don't care. But what I do care is that the story needs to be set straight so that my name isn't dragged through the mud and that this man doesn't get away with it again, because he did it again to a huge Trump donor, a wife. He grabbed her and something pushed her against the wall. There's a story there. And that's when Megyn reached out to me. Megyn Kelly reached out to my team wanting for me to talk about it. And I wasn't willing to talk about it then. I was wounded still. I went all the way to the UK. I dove into charity. I mean, I did recover and keep going after that. It didn't keep me down for long. That's not what I'm saying, that it's the main reason of whatever. But it wounded me so much that I didn't confront it. I didn't look at it. You never heard this story before from me, from my mouth, because I was scared, Joy Tribe. I was so scared. And I don't want to be scared anymore. I've got a whole good team working with me. I've got a whole new life. And I don't care how this makes me look or who's going to attack me. I can't care anymore about that. I spent years just being like, Well, it'll come off as the wrong way. I justified why I wasn't speaking up. Now I'm speaking up. This scandal that's erupting, he is a disgusting person and he should not be allowed to be working in campaigns. Christy, what are you doing? Somebody who is this disgusting working for you? I pray she's not having an affair with him. It's messy. This drama distracts from the actual things that we need to be looking at. You see how it can tear apart the Republican Party, tear apart the conservative movement. I don't care about the party, but I care about the movement towards freedom, free speech, freedom, pro-life, pro-woman, pro-America. But none of that matters if we can't get our shit together. None of it matters if this is what we're going to focus on. And everyone should be appalled and calling him out for the dirty deeds that he's done, and he should never be able to work in town again until he apologizes, which, by the way, Charles Payne had him on Fox News after the incident in 2017 concerning me. And Charles asked him, well, why would she lie about this? Thank you, Charles, by the way. He's the only one who asked the question where it wasn't biased and slanted towards him, because I found out later that he was on Fox's payroll, that he was a paid contributor. I was not. And I love Fox News. I am grateful for every opportunity I've been on there. It's not to slant anybody, but I will tell you that Charles, who's a very good man, saying that, asking him, why would she lie about this? And he said, I don't know, but the truth will be revealed. The truth will come out. Something like that. He never denied it, Joy Tribe. He never even denied it. And I feel upset that somebody would be allowed to dominate the press, use Trump's name, still be in good graces somehow with the campaign when nobody likes this person. Nobody likes the actions that he did. He's done it 3 times in a row. It's not okay. And as women, we should not allow men to treat us this way. As men, we should not allow our women to be treated this way. 3rd time. And now 4th scandal with a woman. Christy, run far away from him. You're too good of a woman. You're too high. You set too high of a standard. If it's true that you've been sleeping with him, our party is lost for the want of what? It's just not worth it. So I've said my piece, Joy Tribe. I've said the truth. I've confronted this because it feels like an impossibility that I said all this and I just said, I'm going to put the camera on. I'm going to talk. I talked to my manager, who's a beautiful soul. I have a Christian team around me, a good team around me. And I feel like God's calling on me to stand up and to be the unifier, to unify us together with messages towards freedom and truth and honesty as an American woman. I will not be quiet. I will not live in fear. I will not let myself be degraded this way ever again. So I'm going to call a spade a spade. And this is the truth. This is what happened. It scares the crap out of me where this is going to go and who's going to interpret it and what they're going to say. But I felt that I owe it to you, Joy Tribe. I owe it to myself. And I owe it to God to be honest. So there it is. Thank you so much for listening to me. I know this was a different episode of The Joyful Life, not one like we've had before. And I just pray that this somehow helps people who have been victimized of assault in its many forms, from the lightest to the most extreme, because it's not a light thing, even when it happens with clothes on the outside, in public. It is detrimental to the soul to be used and abused and treated like a piece of trash. It's detrimental to be seen as a thing when you are so much more than your body and someone else's viewpoint of using your body. That's not who we are. We are higher beings on a higher plane as spiritual beings with a voice and a truth. And I will not stop fighting for America. I will not stop fighting for the world, that we see that and we take that into extent. That's why I love Trump. His message make America great again is for everybody. That's why I love America. Now is the time to rise against all of this nonsense. And that's why I am here. And I truly believe that. And I love you, Joy Tribe. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you letting me preach a bit too, and to just speak on my mind, speaking on my heart. Whew. All right, I'm going to end this now. But I love you. And here's to truth and honesty, and not letting the media take away, or the nonsense take away what we have fought so hard for. The drama. The drama. We don't need the drama. We don't need no drama. Drama belongs on stage, not in our homes. So take that to heart. And if you have been a victim, speak up. I love you. You're valuable. You're worthy. You don't have to stay victimized. You are who you are. You were created to do great things and live the joyful life. I'll see you in the next episode.